Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your June reading and to my channel. As you can see here, we already have a card, and that's the card that came out for the month of June when I was doing your yearly reading, which I will link here. Six of Swords indicates movement and indicates movements in thoughts. But even like moving away or leaving a situation, developing further, it has an airy mood, so it fits to your sign. So I don't know, maybe things are moving now a little bit in June. We are in Gemini season, which is an air sign like you. So I think you will feel good in June in this Gemini season, which is all about connecting and re-merging and connecting the dots and communicating, and that's favorable for you too. I mean, you guys, this moon keeps on coming out for you, for your readings. Wow, incredible. 3 major arcana. Hello. As I said, the moon keeps coming out for you, and we had this in previous reading, and it was all about, you know, waking up, or better to say, going through a process of analyzing, of processing things, of growing up a little bit as well, you know, emotionally, and dealing with things. But it looks like this moon phase, this dark phase, dark in the sense of processing things from inside, it's almost like it's over, or at least it will be finished now in June. And that's what the cards are indicating, that this process has been going on for a while, and now it is time to move, you know, now it's time to get out in the sun, you know, or like continue that journey. Like even here with the moon, we have, if you can see the card of the moon, it is in the night, but like this crabfish here is getting out of the waters. So there are like even different phases of the darkness, or the processing, or dealing with emotions, or dealing with the unconscious, or dealing with what is inside, you know, because we have here at least 3 realities, which is like the water, the ground, and the mountain. So it's almost like you are coming out of the waters right now, you know, and what you are aiming, and what we all are aiming, is the mountain. It's that more higher ground. But right now there is this movement toward the earth, towards stability in a way, and getting out of troubled waters and dirty waters, because this crabfish lives in sweet waters, but they cannot live in dirty waters. So whenever the water gets dirty, they have to leave that environment. So it's almost like, you know, this crabfish is leaving those waters which were turbulent waters, which were dirty waters, which were not good. Maybe they have been emotionally up and downs and turbulent. And we have here as well the 6 of Swords, indicating this movement from troubled waters to more calmer waters, or to ground, to the other side. I mean, there is here as well a bridging, going to the other side. But it's a mental decision, because the swords of our thoughts. So this 6 of Swords means that there is a conscious decision to leave behind something, to leave behind those emotional, maybe turbulent times, and then to make now the next step. And the thing is that with the next step, it might be a little bit scary. And that's why the moon here as well, because the moon is as well the unknown and has some sort of scariness in it. And in order to do the next step, one needs a lot of courage. And there are like these two dogs here, which might be a little bit threatening for the crayfish. It's the name of this, not crabfish, but like it's a crab. It might be threatening a little bit, but the thing is that those dogs are not, they are not dealing with you. They have their own reality, dog and wolf, I think. But they are creatures of the grounds, so you have to deal as well with what is in the ground. But anyway, there is no other option. You cannot go back. You can only develop further. And we have here next coming the Chariot. And the Chariot is that driver, the driving force. Actually, the Chariot is a divine force, which is driving this machine or whatever, car or whatever you want to call it more in modernity. But it's like there is a driving force behind the Chariot, and the driving force is like a major force, a divine force, but it needs courage. And like the Chariot is as well about making making things tangible, making things reality, grounding as well. And it's very balanced. So it's about achieving a certain balance, achieving a certain maturity, and being in charge of your own journey, of your own chariot, of driving your own body and project and mind and whatever you have as a force. It's like even getting a little bit of force back, the strength back, so to say. And I like the Chariot with this, I always like to think about the star here. So the Chariot is driven by the star. So the importance here of getting outside of that moon situation, of that underwater situation, is keeping your eye on a star, on something that inspires you and that you want to follow. But it's about grounding, and it's about making things tangible. And that's why that motion, that movement from the waters into the ground, where things start becoming real, where things start appearing, where things start coming into light in a way. Because like when it is night and it is water, under the water you can't see anything. And yeah, there is this movement toward the stability, because after the Chariot we have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant represents Taurus, represents an earth sign, but it represents as well institutions, laws, everything that is formal. So I don't know, there is this movement toward formality, toward institutionalization of things, moving from something which is more watery and more diffuse into something which is driven, and it leads to some sort of structure, some sort of structure. It's like building a structure which is functional and which has a characteristic of an institution. So there is this interesting movement, which is logical, by the way, which has to happen for you. But with these three major arcanas, it's like it is necessary, and not only it is necessary, but you can't do anything about it. It's like your destiny, almost. So the best thing you can do is just be a chariot, be in charge of it, at least take charge for it. And beautiful here, masculine energy. Because the Chariot is a masculine energy, the Hierophant is a masculine energy, the Moon is a feminine energy, but here the Six of Swords is a masculine energy. So there's an emphasis on energy, on masculinity, on thinking, on being rational somehow. Interesting. Yes, I mean, and I was talking about energy, and here we have this energetic cards coming out too, which is the Knight of Wands and the Two of Wands, which represent energy. And I don't know, I feel a little bit, there's a little bit of nostalgia, you know, about leaving something behind, about getting out of a certain situation or a certain way of living. And it's a little bit like maybe you have had imagined things to be different, or you had imagined life to be different, or you had a different plan. But the thing is, things are going like this now. So the best thing you can do is like take charge for it, be in control of it, and accept it as your destiny. Because like this Nine of Wands here is in that journey. He is serving to that major cause that, I don't know, the kingdom or the king. He's serving the king and the Queen of Wands, but he's passionate. So you know, you need to take your passion with you anyway in this kind of change that you are doing. It doesn't mean that this institutionalization, this grounding of things, has no space for wants, for energy, for passion. No. You can take it with you. You can take it with you. Just make it part of yourself, of your journey. You know? Integrate it already in the everyday life. And I mean, are two, I mean, interesting, because we have two knights here, the Knights of Wands and the Knight of Cups, and they are a little bit looking away from each other. So now I'm thinking maybe that, you know, like this future change, this movement toward the future needs some emotion too, but it's like it's a different kind of way of dealing with the emotions, because here in the Moon card one is immersed in the emotions, so one is like it's inside the sea of emotion, and then it becomes like difficult. While with the Knight of Cups, it's like the Knight of Cups is in charge of the emotion. He has the emotion inside the cup. So he is the one carrying the emotions and not the emotions carrying him. So there is this emphasis here, but the Knight of Cups might mean as well like be more tangible when it comes to being emotional or to expressing yourself. Be more formal. Start forming things, start giving them shape, start grounding them here with the Chariot and the Hierophant. In terms of creativity, you might be afraid a little bit of doing that, but it's like that's the way how you captivate them, because getting drawn in them and living all the time in that situation of sort of dreamlike, it's like you are part of that underwater world, but that underwater world owns you. And here it's like you owning the emotions, the feelings, and you doing something with it, and you carrying it on, and then you being creative with it and in charge of it. And I mean, there is this little bit of nostalgia, maybe looking back at how things were supposed to be, but you don't have, you can take that passion with you. You are not supposed to leave it back. This is not like total past. I mean, you can still have this thing. You just need to keep it with you. Keep the passion. Keep the passion, but make sure to form or to give a form to your emotions and feelings when it comes to communication. And be passionate as well. Passionate and loving and caring and emotional when it comes to communication with other people. In your journey, you are a little bit more stubborn and you are a little bit more steadfast, but in the way how you communicate, you can be more easy and spontaneous and yes, sharing, passionate. There's something here about passions. And then, I mean, for some of you, it means as well that you might be getting an offer, because the Hierophant means as well institution, as I said, but marriage too. So, and the Knight of Wands might be a loving offer coming your way. So I see it like that too, but there is a lot of emphasis on masculine energy. It's all about getting out of that moon feminine energy of drowning in emotions and in waters and in the unconscious, and doing that next step and taking charge and being above the waters, like the Six of Swords, being above the waters and being logical. This month it's about being logical in your moves, but still keeping that fire, that passion with you and those emotions. Being in charge, basically. You're in charge. This month you need to be in charge, or whatever you're doing. Okay, I've got this new deck, Intuitive. So I'm going to pull a card from there to see. Interesting. Because I was this is the card number 3. It represents the Empress, which is a feminine energy. So yeah, I was saying that you need to be more, you have to embody more that masculine energy here when it comes to decisions, you know, when it comes to driving, to drive yourself in terms of long plans or in terms of goals that you want to achieve. But this card in this deck means be spontaneous without fear. Express yourself spontaneously without fear. So that was a little bit this the second row of these cards. Like when it comes to expressing yourself, you need to be a little bit more passionate and a little bit more open and a little bit more emotional this month, and more spontaneous without fear. But what is backing you up is this rational plan that you have with the Chariot and the Hierophant. So you need that rational plan, like here, to get out of those waters, to start grounding yourself. But in order to do that move, maybe you need to be more spontaneous and do that without fear. So be more spontaneous without fear. Okay? Okay, you guys, I hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, and you will see me next month. Bye.